Hi, I'm Rachel, welcome to my channel. This week I bring you 18 woven dress patterns, and I specifically looked for easy patterns that would be perfect for either beginners or confident beginners. But I would say within this selection there's quite huge variation, and I do think the term beginner is quite relative, but I do hope there's something here for everybody, whether you're a beginner, a more confident beginner, or whether you're a more advanced maker who just wants a simple project. All these are for woven dresses, by the way, and I will also catch up with you at the end, and I will talk about how maybe you would approach sewing as a beginner if you're interested, and the whole video will be time-stamped and there will be links to all the patterns I'm talking about below. Let's begin. So let's start with a Fibre Moods Maya dress. I think this is such a sweet dress. I love the exaggerated sleeves and the fact that it's actually got a waist on it. Anyway, it's paper or PDF, sizes UK 4 to 30. So yeah, A-line silhouette, the slightly sort of puffed sleeves, a round neck, bound centre back zip, and yeah, I love the fact it's got this slightly nipped in waist, and the sleeves are really interesting. So they've got a lot of tucks in them, and you can apparently play around with the tucks. So you don't necessarily have to put the tucks in the sleeve hem. So that would mean that the sleeve would look actually much wider and much fuller, and would give you a different silhouette. It's a sweet shape. It's not too girly. I don't myself like to wear big sort of voluminous dresses. I need to have a bit of waist definition, and I think this is perfect. So I could see myself most definitely wearing the Maya dress from Fibre Mood. So, okay. By the way, these are all woven, all for woven fabrics, so fairly straightforward. This one's from Trend Patterns. I do like Trend Patterns, as you may know if you watch my channel regularly. This is their square dress. So it's kind of like easier version of a bias cut dress, if you like. And they say this is easy to make. It's a paper or PDF pattern, sizes 8 to 22, designed for a lightweight, reasonably fluid fabric. So you have got the top, front and back panel, and then you've got a side and a hem, a side and a bottom panel as well, if you look at the line drawing. And front and back, the two lower panels are the same, back and front, so it makes it much easier to cut. And so you've got this bias cut effect. The top of the bodice will be cut on the cross, and then when you cut, you can see from the way that the checks sit on the photograph here, you can see that the seam lines run along the straight grain on the lower panels, which is going to make it easier to make because the fabric's going to be more stable, and it's got this sort of handkerchief effect deep hem as well, and I think it's lovely. Really like that one. Unsurprisingly, this is a Trend pattern. Okay, this is from Mimi G at Simplicity, the S9917. Now, you can go either way with this dress. You can make a simple version or you can make a complex version. I really like it without the belt. So the strapless version, if you're going to make the strapless version, you're going to have to bone it, and you'll be boned internally on the lining, which is not that difficult to do, but it's another process if you haven't done that before. Alternatively, you could make the version with the shoulder straps, and the pattern actually is intended for you to do sliders, so you can make them adjustable. But you could probably, if you just fit it on yourself correctly, you don't necessarily have to have the sliders. You could just make a simple strap if you want to make it less complicated. You have got a centre back concealed zip here, although you could probably put in a channel zip if you don't like doing concealed zips. Gauging into the waistline, yeah, and it has got side pockets, which I think side pockets are not too tricky, but it's just a beautiful shape, and it's got a deep hem as well. I do like a deep hem on a full skirt. So that is Simplicity S9917 Mimi G, PDF or paper, and two size sets, 8 to 16 or 18 to 26. Okay, moving on to two very different ones. This is Fibre Moods Khloe dress. Again, wovens are all wovens, and it's kind of like a pinafore dress that wraps around the front with this gauge detail into the waist, centre front to tie, and side patch pockets. So you haven't got any zips here, which if you don't like putting zips in, that takes that whole equation out of it. It's PDF or paper, sizes extra small to extra large. A really sweet summer dress there, great in cotton poplin or cotton sateen, equally in a print. Kind of similar style, well, a similar look to it. This is Puff and Pencil, from Puff and Pencil, and it's their panel dress. And if you're a beginner, I would say you can't go far wrong with Puff and Pencil patterns. Their instructions are brilliantly clear, absolutely fantastically clear. So this dress, let's look at it. It's got side panel seams, and it's got a centre back split, and it's got a centre back opening which will be bagged out, I think, into a facing, and it's got a tie at the centre back, so no buttonhole there. Ties at the side, bust darts as well. So it's a fairly simple shape, and there's top stitching that you see in the picture is absolutely optional. And the brilliant thing about Puff and Pencil patterns is they have this way, you can go and look at their website, you can add collars and sleeves to a lot of their styles, if not most of them. It's really quite clever. I recently made their zip front vest. I made it with the sleeves, but you could do it sleeveless as well, or add a different style of sleeve. So really quite ingenious and brilliant instructions if you're a novice stitcher. So that's from Puff and Pencil, the panel dress. This one is from McCalls. I have to say, before I get going on this one, I don't like the gold belt in the picture, but I really like this style because there's such a lot you can do with it, and I believe it's also really quite simple. So starting with the bodice, the bodice is lined, so you've got this bagged out neck and armhole. You've got simple princess seams front and back, and it's got a centre back zip, but it's a channel zip, not a concealed zip. And then with the skirt is where you can really have some fun. So you can have it knee length, or you can have it long, or you can do this high-low thing, dipped in the middle, or you can have it shorter at the front and longer at the back. And I particularly like this sort of green-coloured patterned illustration of the high-low one with a contrasting hem, which I think is quite fantastic. So McCalls M8060 paper, 6 to 14, 14 to 22. So a lot of options there. I mean, it would be nice in linen, but you can imagine that in a really lovely occasion wear fabric to go to a wedding or to go to some kind of summer do would be a really good one. Okay, let's move on to, this is really simple. This is Stylarc's Olivia woven dress. Absolutely perfect beginner pattern. So it's got a round neck with facings, which are stitched down, a very simple square sleeve, which is stitched back, I believe. And then you've got an elasticated channel for the waist, which is quite a simple thing to do, and an optional belt. So you could forget the belt if you don't want to do that. I mean, I think it's absolutely fine without the belt, to be quite honest with you. A brilliant summer dress, great for summer holidays, small, you could roll it up in your case, great in prints, in like vibrant plains. You could also imagine it in a stripe as well. I can imagine it in gingham, all sorts of things. Leopard print I think could be fab. So that's a really good beginner's pattern from Stylarc, and it's in 4 size sets. It's a PDF, 14 to 16, 10 to 22, 18 to 30, or 28 to 36. So that's from Stylarc. And I've got another I think quite simple dress coming up here. It's from the Friday Pattern Company, and it's a saltwater slip dress. Incidentally, as always, if any of you have made these, share your experiences of them. This is a really simple slip dress with a bound neckline and adjustable straps, and also with a tie, a self-made tie, so you can tie it in at the waist like you can see here in the illustration. It's got two lengths, and the longer version's got a side slit in it. It's got a centre back seam and bust starts. Sizes extra small to 7 times extra large, so it's a really big size set. Bust 81 to 150 centimetres, so loads of options there on sizes. And they do multiple cup sizes within those sizes as well, B, C, C, D. The straps are adjustable too. So I imagine that's a kind of dress that once you've got it down, you could, it's probably quite quick to make multiple versions. So it'd be a great one for the summer. You know, if you're a novice, you know, it's great to choose something simple and straightforward, and then you crack that and you can make a few of them in different fabrics, and you get more experience and you get more confidence. So I think that's quite a good one for beginners. Another beginner dress, which I think is fab. Who doesn't love a caftan? And this is a lovely caftan from Vikisews. It's the Nevia dress, full length, centre back and centre front seams with a keyhole opening at the front, bound back neck, and I think there's a facing at the front. It's kind of elbow length and just very, very simple. It's got side slits. I'm guessing, excuse me a minute, I'm guessing that you can obviously make it in different lengths. You can make quite a short, you can make a midi version, but I love the long version. I'm tempted to make one for the summer in some sort of jazzy printed fabric. I think it would be great for a summer holiday. So that's from Vikisews. It's PDF and it's 3 size sets: extra small, small, medium large and extra large. So if you want to make a simple caftan, I think that's a really, really good one. Okay, moving on. Again, we're going back to Style Arc, and this is the Hope dress. I'm sure lots of people have made this. I reckon this is a really popular shape. I really like this. I'm not a huge fan of volume, quite roomy dresses, but I think this is particularly nice. And I don't know whether it's the raglan sleeves that swing it for me. I like the way they've made it in this quite fluid print here. Okay, so it's the Hope woven dress, PDF or printed sizes 4 to 32. So it's easy fit. It goes on over the head. You've got this high waist and raglan sleeve detail, faced neckline with a loop and button fastening at the centre back with a short opening as well, and side pockets, always good, and in 2 lengths. And I just think that's a great useful shape, a good one to have in your pattern collection, and a great style to have in your wardrobe too. Okay, Vogue. I've got a few from Vogue. I've got a little cluster of them from Vogue here. Now this one, the V1777 by Rachel Khloe. I must confess, I didn't realise it had welt pockets. And as this video is designed for easy sewing patterns or for beginners, I feel like maybe it shouldn't be in here. But I think what you could do is you could put side pockets in instead of welt pockets, because it's kind of style that you kind of would be good to have pockets in. Anyway, I digress. So it's a paper pattern, extra small, small, medium, or large, extra large, or extra large. So you've got the 2 size sets there. It's part lined, I think the bodice is lined, and it's a simple over the head style with this kind of lovely easy drop shoulder, and a sort of I suppose the sleeve finishes midway between your shoulder and your elbow, with a turn back cuff, and it does have bust starts, and it's got this nice pleat detail of the skirt, so the skirt's quite fluid. But I definitely think you could put side pockets in instead of the welt pockets if you didn't want to do welt pockets. And it's a nice midi length. I particularly like that one from Vogue. Another one, the same designer, this is Rachel Comey again at Vogue, the V1799, a nice easy shape with a V at the front and the back. Again, a drop shoulder, a short sleeve, and this great detail just at the side with these sort of gauged panels underneath the arm, front and back. And it's a midi length again, which really useful. I can imagine that in a slightly crisp cotton print on a cotton sateen or a poplin. Quite nice. Yeah, so another one from Vogue Patterns, and fairly straightforward. This one, I've liked this one for a long time, and it's marked as an easy Vogue pattern. I think the only thing that bothers me slightly is the centre front is a bit low. For me, I'd have to cross it out, like bring the break higher up and maybe add a bit on and make that not so revealing at the front. It would just be too much for me. I mean, a swimming costume's one thing, but I don't think I could wear a dress like that. I wouldn't feel comfortable. But it's a lovely shape, isn't it? With the sort of the pleats going into the waistband and the pleats at the neck. And although it's a halter neck, it's not. It's got a back to it as well, so you don't feel too exposed. Apart from the centre front, that is. Centre back zip, side pockets, and a circular skirt. So it's a paper pattern from Vogue, sizes 6 to 14 or 14 to 20, 2 size sets you get from them as usual. Centre back zip and hook and eye, the pleats again with the circular skirt. The armhole finish is bias binding, so I guess you could actually buy in some bias binding to do that. Okay, and I think I've got another one from Vogue, final one from Vogue, I promise. I have got some others coming up. There's 18 dresses altogether here. Okay, V1795, and ooh, yes, there's so many variations in this dress. I took it, when I first saw it, I just took it as the picture on the pattern envelope, like the colour images here. But then I looked at the line drawings, and actually there's an awful lot you can do with this pattern. I was, I think, attracted by the mix of stripes with the contrasting bodice and skirt. And it would be nice to colour block it as well. So the main image, you've got the bodice with the full skirt, but there's also a straight skirt version. They've all got these tight waist sashes, and you've got the short sleeve version, and then you've got 2 long sleeves. You've got a standard sort of full long sleeve, and then one that's ruched as well, which is a bit like that blouse, that wrap blouse that I made a few months ago probably. So you've got quite a lot going on there. It's got bust darts, it's got pleats around the skirt for the full skirt, or darts for the straight skirt, and gauging at the sleeve hem for the long sleeve versions. I think that pattern was probably quite good value for money. There's a lot you can do there. So sizes 6 to 14, 14 to 22, paper pattern from Vogue. Okay. Now this is from Papercut Patterns, and I think this is really sweet. It's a wrap style dress, and it's got a faced, so it's the Papercut Aura dress. It's got faced front and back necklines, a 3/4 sleeve with an elasticated wrist, this wrap fastening at the waist, and bust darts. Just a really simple style, but quite effective, and quite versatile for the summer. Great in linen, great in prints. There's a lot you could do with it, and also that pattern comes with a skirt version as well, with the sort of the wrap style and the sash at the waist too. Okay, I've got a few more to show you. This is a free one from Mood. It's the MDF 408 Axel shirt dress. So I think in the world of shirt dresses, this is reasonably straightforward, and it's also a really classic shape. I like the way it's full length. I mean, you could make it knee length or midi length, couldn't you? It doesn't have to be full length. So it has got a double back yoke, classic shirt and shirt collar, patch pockets, and centre front button fastening, self sash and turn back sleeves. So I actually think even if you're a novice sewer, it's got all those classic elements that it's really good to sort of crack them and get on top of them when you're sort of upping your sewing game. So I think that's quite a good one. They've got 4 sizes, so small, medium, large, extra large, and it spans size 0 to size 30. You can have a look in the link. And that is a free PDF pattern, so you know, you could download that, piece it together. If you've got some fabric at home that you're not too precious about, give it a go and make yourself a shirt dress. Okay, now we have, I think, one from Etsy next. I haven't featured a pattern from Etsy for a while. I know this one is the Melanie Patterns Mia dress, and I know it looks a bit bridal, but suspend your belief and imagine it in a really lovely, massive, oversized print, or even a gingham, like a fine shirting stripe, and it would just be great for a summer holiday in this sort of long, full length. I think the skirt's bias cut. I don't think it actually says on the information. It's got halter neck fastening with self tie fastening, gauging under the bust, 1 front panel, 2 back panels, because you've got a centre back seam with a centre back concealed zip, but really quite straightforward, fairly straightforward to make, I would say. And that is from Etsy and from Melanie Patterns. Sizes extra small to 3 times extra large, bust size 34 to 46. And last but not least, I've chosen this really nice retro pattern. So Butterick Retro, Butterick 61, B6318. It's lovely. I couldn't actually see a line drawing on the listing there, but I think it's really pretty much speaks for itself. So you've got a semi-fitted bodice, and the skirt is gathered onto the bodice, and then I think it's really cinched in by this fixed wrap, which I think it's fixed into the side seam, and you wrap it around the front and you tie it at the back, and I think that's got, by the looks of it, it's got back bodice darts as well. It's got a short dolman sleeve, a narrow hem and a back zip, but quite simple, quite a simple style, but I think quite effective, and I particularly like it in the stripes. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope there was something there for you, whether you're a beginner, a more confident beginner, or somebody who is a more advanced maker, but just like some of those styles. As I said at the beginning, I just wanted to talk a bit about beginning to sew, and I think there are a few things that maybe are good to remember. It's a long time since I started sewing. I started sewing, when I was a child. My mum taught me to sew when I was really quite young, but I think one of the big things is to start simple. I mean, if you really haven't sewn anything before, start making a tote bag. It's all straight lines, and you'll learn how to use a sewing machine, and just to get the feel of cutting something out and putting it together. What happens when you press it? What happens when you stitch it? All those things that you may have never done before. And you know, you can make a tote bag. It's quite simple, and you'll be satisfied with the end result. So that will encourage you to go on and do more. Seek out free patterns. There are loads of free patterns online. I actually did a video last year about free patterns, and I'll put a link below. There are some lovely free patterns available. And you know, try and find some fabric you're not too precious about. I mean, you can use an old sheet, you could use an old duvet, just to make something, to see what it looks like. I mean, that's kind of like doing a toile, which is a rough version of the garment. You can get fabric in charity shops. You can reuse furnishing fabrics or bedding, or there are all sorts of ways to make things not too expensive, and then you're actually also recycling at the same time. The other thing I would say is read all the instructions on your sewing pattern, and if the specific pattern has a vlog or a video guide with it, watch that, because it's really invaluable to watch somebody actually making something rather than looking at static instructions in a leaflet or a book. I know the Mimi G full skirted dress that I featured earlier on in the video has a vlog as well that you can go to from that website link that I have put below. So have a look at that. And Mimi G has got her own channel, which is very good. Have all your materials ready when you start your project. There's nothing worse than getting really into it and then you haven't got something and you can't finish it. It's really disheartening. And I think also most of all it's practice, 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 because even as a fairly experienced sewer and maker, every project is different and you never 100% know how your fabric is going to behave at the end of the day. And I think I would say every project I do, I learn something even now, even though I've been making for a long time. So yes, I hope you found that useful. I hope it inspires you to make one of the dresses or maybe get sewing, maybe make one of the really simple ones and get yourself going on your sewing journey. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.